What's all this jaggedy rock bullshit? Like, just everywhere. What?
It is 6 a.m. in the morning, which is way too goddamn early for me, but we have left Split and we're on our way to Krka Waterfalls because we want to get there before they open, because we're in April, which starts to get busy in Croatia, and Krka Waterfalls is apparently very popular and will get very busy. So in order to get there before the crowds of tourists, we want to get there right before they open. We bought our tickets for the wrong day. It was yesterday. Well, we need to go in today. So we're going to see if they care. And if they do care, we're going to buy some new tickets. But we're on our way right now, and hopefully I can find some place for a goddamn coffee before I get there. I'm so tired.
Krka National Park is a gorgeous nature reserve containing ruins, walking trails, and a beautiful series of waterfalls going down the Krka River. Getting to Krka is pretty straightforward. The drive to the park is about an hour from Split, and you can either head to the Skraden or Lozovac entrances to then enter the park proper. For this video though, we're going to focus on the Lozovac entrance, as we think it's the best one. It places you the closest and at the top of all of the waterfalls. We're also going to assume you're going in your own vehicle. There are package tours and buses that will take you there, but they're not exactly our bag, and we highly recommend you travel by car if you can. The drive itself is beautiful. Before you head to the park though, make sure you buy tickets beforehand, especially if it is high season. The park limits how many can enter, and it is pretty popular. And tickets for the park are about 100 kuna a piece. This was around $14 when we filmed this, and are limited for the day you purchase them for.
So we just made our way into the park. We accidentally bought tickets for yesterday's date.
I was booking two parks at the same time.
So we had to buy tickets for today's date.
When buying for Lozovac, you have the options of entering by foot or by bus. While the walk down isn't too bad, the path is a little tricky since it's paved in very loose gravel, or as we call it, devil stones.
I feel like my ass breaking on one of these things will hurt, like, so bad. So graceful, like a swan, so graceful.
The walk back up might be a bit much after a day of exploring the park, and the bus is kind of a damned godsend with its cushioned seats and AC. The bus option when buying ahead will add 10 kuna to the cost, as the bus is 5 kunas each way. If you're buying tickets on site, you actually buy the bus separately. Again, if you can do it, the walk down is peaceful, if a bit uninteresting, but you can save a tiny bit of money there. Once you are down at the bottom near the falls, you have a couple of options. You can either head to the tour shop in the water mills or begin walking down the wooden boardwalk trail. You should start with the trail. This trail will take you around and over all of the falls, and it is resplendent. Every time an offshoot shows up, take it. This will take you to the old water mills, definitely worth seeing, or to random lookout points that are well worth your time. Once you hit the very bottom, there is an eating area with multiple choices for food, drinks, or ice cream, and a fantastic view of the main part of the falls. Once there, it's a pretty short hike, unfortunately up a hill, to get back to the bus stop to leave the park.
According to the sign, the bus is a 12-minute walk away. Fuck that. We'll do it in 30.
Now for some tips. Tip number 1, go early. This can be said about any tourist attraction anywhere, but it bears repeating. If you get here early, you avoid the crowds and the tour groups. This will make your time exploring the majesty of this park that much more enjoyable, because you're not constantly having to move around people taking pictures and video, like us, of the falls on these narrow boardwalks. Tip number 2, bring water and snacks. The hike is not crazy long, but your only chance to buy water and food is either at the very top by the parking or at the bottom of the falls near the electric plant. Tip number 3, wear comfortable non-slip shoes. Most of the hike is on a very well-built boardwalk, but some of the lookout points and the walk down, if you so choose, is a little more tricky. Tip number 4, use the Lozovac entrance. It gets you into the action quicker and seems to be less crowded, and it has free parking. Tip number 5, Make sure to keep your park tickets on you. They'll check them at random intervals, especially when getting on the bus or the ferry. Tip number 6. If you want to grab a bite to eat after the park and don't want to pay the overpriced cost for the nearby tourist restaurants, head to Šibenik, about a 15-minute drive outside of Krka. There are a number of choices for restaurants, but we can highly recommend Bistro Luce and Brigitte for a delectable late lunch or dinner. So we have ordered ourselves a Greek salad to share, and we also got ourselves a seafood with smoked ham and shrimps. I'm gonna eat a bunch of pasta, and then I'm gonna try to drive all the way back to Split without passing out and killing both of us on the highway. I'm very excited. Tip number 7, take your time. The falls are majestic, and the walk around the park is glorious. Walk slow, look at everything, soak it all in.